Hello everybody and welcome back with today's Into the Radius release date. I hope you're excited, I sure am, and I'm not under a sponsor anymore, and I'm still going to tell you this game is fantastic. Everything I said in my first impression / review video is bang on the money despite the sponsor and despite me working with CM Games to get this out of the door and to kind of put some limelight on it. All my words still stand. Under no obligation now, it's fantastic. Anyway, let's move on and help you with Into the Radius. Whether you bought the game or haven't bought the game and are eyeing it up and want to know some tips, welcome to the stuff I've learned over my journey with Into the Radius so far, and most importantly, the stuff that I discovered in my first opening hours that really helped me along my journey with this game. Okay, first and foremost, let's talk PSVR2 centric stuff. The main one for this is, do you want to run in performance mode or quality mode? These are two choices that you've got. One of these is unreprojected and one of them is reprojected. Do you want to value real visual clarity in still images, or do you want a much smoother experience? I would tell you, especially with the focus on combat, especially later on in the game, opt for the performance mode, not the quality mode. However, if you don't mind reprojection and you want faster draw distances, slightly better shadows, and slightly better texture resolution, go for quality. Also, I'm going to make you aware of the difficulty menu if you weren't already. If you're playing through the game and you find it's a little difficult, or maybe you don't like the hunger system or you don't like the weapon degrading system, you can go into the difficulty menu and basically turn all these things up or down. Don't like your weapons degrading so fast, you can slow that right down. Don't like how many enemies there are, you can turn that down too. Don't like how many anomalies there are, you can turn those down as well if you'd like to. There's all sorts of options, so go and take a look. Okay, in terms of actually playing the game and what you'll encounter, you'll start off with a starting loadout. This will include an IJ70, but the most important thing that I want to highlight that you might not be aware of in this loadout is your regen anomaly item. Essentially, you can find artifacts around the map, and your artifact detection little unit will go off when you do, and those can all be used for different things as well, but the one you start the game with will be located in your dump pouch, I think, in your bottom left or in your backpack. I can't quite remember which, but this thing is essentially a little ball that if you hold down the trigger, it will heal you. You don't really have to buy med stims for your first couple of missions, just use this thing. It's a fantastic way to get health back and last quite a while. Also, get familiar with your pouch locations and your storage locations and where you pull out your backpack so you can quickly get them out on the fly. If you do end up losing health, there's a space to regen health at the base for a price. Even though this does cost money, as well as normal stims costing money, this is a lot cheaper than normal stims and is essential if you want a quick top up of your health, as it'll only cost you a few dollars rather than the $3.50 it costs you to get a whole new stim. Stims are great for when you're out in the radius though and need a quick boost of health, as they will bring you pretty much all the way back up to full every time. But if you just want to heal a little bit, go to your in-base regen station, which looks like a shower in the building on the far side, where you usually buy or deposit items. Your base also has items around it, so go take a look. Loot what you can and pick up any items that catch your eye. This can be from ammo, health stims, and food. They're scattered all over the base, so go take a look and store them either in your backpack or in your base. I'd also recommend keeping hold to grip on PSVR2. You can turn it to touch to grip, but the game essentially uses that Saints and Sinners and Resi style of grabbing items where it just detects when your finger's on the button. You don't have to press it in at all. This threw me off a little bit at the start, but honestly it becomes second nature, and I'd recommend keeping it on. Having hold to touch will make you so much more precise when you're picking up items in the long run, whereas toggle holding can slow you down and make the experience feel a bit clumsy, especially with the capacitive touch on the PSVR2, so I'd recommend keeping it on hold. Take the time to also learn different anomalies. Some will pop up in different places, but most of the time the anomalies will stay in the same place and you can kind of learn how to navigate around them. These are essentially elemental spawning attacks around the map and will most of the time cause you damage if you go near them or in them. So yeah, memorize which ones are where, what they do, as they can vary from pushing you back to electrocuting you to slowly draining your health. Similar to anomalies, learn enemy attack patterns. This is very, very useful to learning how to absolutely cleave your way through loads of enemies, as you can learn when they attack, how slow they move, how fast they move, and make them more predictable. This will increase your survival chances when out in the radius, and especially in later levels. For example, the little spaghetti creature, as I like to call it, will have a little bit of a delay before it jumps at you and then gets stuck wherever it jumps, leaving it open to attack. Little things like this can be picked up on, and it's essentially like playing a big game of chess, but in VR. As each piece moves differently, you'll be able to predict what's going to happen and how to handle it. Learn your ammo types as well. From full metal jacket to armor piercing, these will range in damage, how loud or quiet they are, as subsonic ammo will make you very, very stealthy and quiet, especially if you combine that with a suppressor. Whereas armor piercing will pack a massive punch, sound a little bit louder, and be able to break the armor of more tough enemies later on in the game. This will be more expensive though, as I've said, so prioritize which ammo you're bringing on a mission, and also keep your magazines and which ammo is in which magazine memorable and obvious. For example, if you've got 2 AK magazines, one has AP and one has Full Metal Jacket, maybe put the AP on the left of your backpack, Full Metal Jacket on the right, and you'll know which one is which for when you encounter different types of enemies. Also take the time to loot. As you're traversing through the radius, there'll be several opportunities to enter houses, enter attics, and most of the time there'll be something good stashed in here. This can also lead you to finding weapons that won't be available to you just yet. The game uses the security level system to essentially lock off items until you complete certain missions. However, for example, I found the PPSH out in the wild, even though I wasn't the security level to buy it yet. So I brought it back in and was able to clean it up, meaning that when I got to that security level, I could buy several magazines and didn't need to buy a PPSH because I already had one because I found it out in the radius. So have a look around, explore, you will be rewarded in a game like this for doing so. Penultimately, in this little guide, I want to say over prepare for your missions. You don't know what you're going to encounter in the radius, and you don't know how many stims, for example, you're going to need while you're out there. My rule of thumb is that if I think I need 4 magazines, I'll take 5 or 6. If I think I need 1 stim, I'll take 2 or 3, just to be safe. Any equipment that you don't use on a mission can always be used in the next one, but you also want to be mindful of your weight. So don't over prepare completely, but do go a little bit above what you think you'll need just in case of emergencies, so you're not caught out there on your own with no help. And finally, save. Just save as often as you can. If you find a good piece of loot or you're partway through a mission, save midway. Fill up that save slot so that if you end up dying, you don't have to go all the way back to your last autosave, which will be the time that you entered that area of the radius. There is also an option to simply continue and go and find your old stuff and pick it out of your backpack and continue, but I wouldn't recommend doing this if you want to be time efficient. Just keep saving as you go. It will save you more than you think. I know this from experience, from not saving and then realizing my last save was half an hour ago and I've now lost all that progress. However, if you don't like that sort of thing, don't save. Just head in there and be as tactical as possible and bear the consequences of your actions. It can also be quite fun and heighten the tension. Okay, there we go. Those are my starting tips for Into the Radius. If you'd like me to cover any more in the future, I'll be down to and make another list. But these are the things I wish I knew when jumping in for the first time. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to our patrons and YouTube members. Link Bentley, Phil Irving, Hazit Mirza, Ace Gamer, Happy Pickle, Jen007, A License to Chill, Sun WTF, Fat Controllers, Jason Barker, Lamar Hall, Jordy Bansma, Lemon64K, Outcast VR, Profi777, and Gundy Gundy. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one, and enjoy the Radius.